Weird News Weekly with Ben and Reid.
Reid, you found a story about a cafe that is charging a little bit more than usual, and this isn't because, their products are necessarily better than other people's. It's because of behavioural factors whilst you're in the cafe.
Yeah, this came up as staff were getting inundated with lots of rude customers, and I must admit, they would have hundreds of people going there every day ordering the same order, and eventually they get sick and tired of the rude people. And I've worked at a cafe. I absolutely know there are rude people who work at cafes. Customers who come to cafes. Well, this cafe over in Spain, of all places, has had enough, and they're stamping out the rudeness. What they've done is they've had enough of the rudeness, and they've actually put a new pricing board out the front of their store. Now, as you mentioned, they're not doing this because of their products or because they need to make more money for the cafe. They actually want people to behave themselves and actually say simple phrases like please and thank you. Now, if you say those simple phrases, you will actually have your coffee at a standard price. But if you don't say please or thank you, you will actually be charged more to pay for your coffee.
Wow.
So I think that's an interesting little initiative they've brought upon themselves. The owner, who I reckon I will be pronouncing this name wrong, but I'm going to give it a go anyway, Marisol Valencia Madrid.
Okay.
I reckon I pronounced that right, actually. Pat on the back. He said he introduced a policy because, getting fed up with rude customers. And since they've done this, over a period of about 6 months, they've been able to establish that they actually have been getting an inundation. I think that's a made-up word. They've been inundated with people who have actually been paying, the right order. So They've actually been able to stamp out once and for all rude people.
Oh, wow.
I must admit, I like that. I think it's absolutely fantastic. I think my mother would be happy because she always raised me to say please and thank you when out in public and ordering food and drinks. So I think it's a good initiative.
Now, other than please and thank you, obviously, as you said, you worked at a cafe before. What was some of the other rude behaviour that you experienced from customers at a cafe?
Well, I would always be annoyed when I would actually ask someone, hello, sir, or hello, madam, how are you? And they wouldn't actually reply. They would just say, large cappuccino, muffin, and, slice of carrot beef. And phrases like that. So I'm thinking, hang on, I asked you a question. I said, how are you? You haven't even replied to that. Why would I continue? So little things like that. And just people not actually making conversation, just being robots. Cappuccino, latte, and a bit of food. Have a conversation. I'm here all day making you food and drink. Be a bit nice to me. Little things like that.
I think from someone who worked at a supermarket for 10 years and, was constantly called to the front end to serve customers and help them process their order through the registers and stuff like that, the one thing that annoyed me the most was when people were just talking on their phones the whole time you were serving them and they didn't interact with you at all. They would literally be on their phone going blah, 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 and then just dump their stuff on the counter and then just expect you to just go, okay, I'll rip into this and start scanning away, shall I? And they're just looking at you going, which is obviously no good for the audio podcast, but they're just pointing at the basket of items and pointing at you and pointing at the scanner and going, go on, just do it, I'm talking. And
a few months ago, I was behind a guy in Subway, and he was on his phone the entire time.
Yeah.
Now think about the process that you need to do in order to go to Subway. You've actually got to go to them, tell them what you want on your sub, and all the kinds of salads and all the rest of it. He was on his phone the entire damn time. Even when it got to the stage where he had to pay for his item, he was on his phone still. And then he left, and I said to the woman behind the counter, I said, do you get that a lot? And she goes, yeah, we do actually. So imagine dealing with those kind of rude customers on their phone every single day. It drives them nuts. But this is what I like about this story. If you greet their staff with buenos dias, you will get an even better deal with coffee reduced even further. So it shows you that if you actually do use simple phrases, maybe the Australian equivalent is, thanks, mate.
Yep.
You would actually get, a decent coffee and you won't be charged more. So I think it's a simple initiative that if you actually charge your customers or tell your customers to be nice, they'll actually be nice.
I reckon here in Australia, for example, if we tried to do something like that, people would just outrage like crazy. The whole story would end up on like Sunrise or something like that, and they'd be shaming this particular cafe, going, how dare you charge people extra who are just trying to go about their day. It wouldn't work here at all.
Well, there was an interesting story a few years ago, back in, I think it was 2014, where an Australian cafe tried a very similar premise where they actually did want people to be nice to their staff and to do little things like not be on the phone, as you mentioned, and try and, actually greet staff well. And it didn't go over that well. And it was a very simple premise. The cafe weren't being rude or anything. They were just saying, hey, we're sick and tired of all the rude stuff. And unfortunately, it didn't go over that well. And after about a month of trialling it, they took it away. So I think one of the TV shows covered it. I don't think it was Sunrise, but I think it was one of them. And they just had enough of it. But I must admit, though, I'm really happy with this story. In a way, though, they are sort of forcing you to be nice. But I would like it if people would actually be nice anyway. But unfortunately, that's the society we live in, mate. We have people who are rude. And I see this every day. If I go to a cafe and the people in front of me aren't even going to be nice to the person serving, I think, seriously, you can't even give this person 2 minutes of your time to say a simple phrase like, hello, how are you? Just be nice, people. There's nothing, it won't hurt you. I think we've massively reduced the amount of niceties in our life, and we're not nice people anymore.
But then on the reverse of that as well, you have the people behind the counter who have almost just become robots in the situation a lot of the time these days. So you'll walk up to for example, I even had this happen to me today. I went to JB Hi-Fi and bought myself a new Blu-ray TV series. It was Walking Dead Season 6. Nice. And so I went up to the counter, gave the lady the case, and she said, hi, how are you? I said, good, thanks, how are you? And she didn't even respond. And then she just went, boop, and scanned it, and then was just like, $35, thanks. And I was like, come on, you interacted with me, so I showed you the common courtesy of interacting back, and you were just like, get out of my life.
There's no such thing as customer service when people are... a lot of companies are always banging on about customer service and we excel in it, but they don't. Excuse me. And it seems that a lot of... I get that as well, where I will try to make conversation with the people behind the counter. Mate, they don't want to say anything. They just want to take your order and away you go.
Yeah.
I had that exact situation, very similar. I asked one behind the counter when I think at a food place. I think I was getting some sort of burger or anything or something. And the woman I said to him, how are you? She just looked at me blankly, as if she was surprised that I would even be asking that question.
Yeah.
She go, I'm well, thank you. What would you like? And I was really taken aback by her surprise that I was actually nice. Yeah. So there are people that are actually nice to those who work behind the counter. So I think we're losing our way as a society where we're not being nice at all.
Yeah. If you'd like to read more on this story, though, at Weird News Weekly on Twitter, you'll find the details right there, as well as weirdnewsweekly.tumblr.com. You can leave us a voicemail right there as well. Give us your thoughts on this story and get involved with the show.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate and review the show on iTunes and follow on Twitter and Tumblr for more details on the covered stories. Just search Weird News Weekly. You can also be part of the show and give us your opinions on a story by sending a voicemail via the SpeakPipe app, or just click the voicemail link on the Tumblr page. Spoken by Sarah D and sped up like this because we like the way it sounds on the government ads.
At the start of that topic, when you said to give yourself a pat on the back, you kind of went like this, and it didn't quite make it all the way around the back, and I was just like, I don't know if that was a pat on the back or Reid going, oh my stars.